Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight, November 25th, regular city council meeting. We will call this meeting in order at 6:01. First up, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Pledge. United States. Item 3, roll call, please.
Mayor Hudson,
Present.
Vice Mayor Thomas,
Here.
Councilmember Hanson,
Here.
Councilmember Pride. Here. And Councilmember Busby is absent.
All right. Any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes.
Okay. Ceremonial matters. We have a proclamation for Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Sorry. Whereas on December 7th, 1941, the United States Naval Base in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, was suddenly and deliberately attacked, resulting in the loss of more than 2,400 American lives, injuring countless others, and marking a pivotal moment in our nation's history. And whereas this tragic event led to the United States into World War II, calling upon the strength, courage, and unity of the American people as millions served both at home and abroad to defend freedom and protect our nation. And whereas Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day honors the brave service members who perished, those who survived, and all who answered the call to defend our country during World War II. And whereas we express our deepest gratitude to the veterans, their families, and all Americans whose sacrifices have safeguarded our nation and preserved the liberties we cherish. And whereas the City of Willows joins communities across the nation in paying solemn tribute to the lives lost and recognizing the resilience and dedication of all who served in the aftermath of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Evan Hudson, Mayor of the City of Willows, and on behalf of the Willows City Council and the citizens of Willows, do hereby proclaim December 7th, 2025 as Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day in the City of Willows and encourage all residents to join in honoring and remembering the heroes of Pearl Harbor and the enduring spirit of the American people. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and official seal this 25th day of November 2025. And I believe we have Carol Lemonager here to receive this.
Just want to thank the city council and city staff for continually providing the veterans proclamations. Now, all except for this one, for this year, they're all on display in Memorial Hall in the showcase as you come through the front doors. And this one will be up there shortly. Can't guarantee it'll be up there tomorrow, but it'll be framed in there waiting to be put in the showcase. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Carol, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, sir.
How many veterans do you guys have that are still from World War II?
I believe probably zero here.
Okay.
The last one,
Is that Mr. Nehus?
yes, thank you. I was going to say with Mr. Nehus, and he passed a year or so ago.
Been a couple now, I
Maybe a
think.
couple.
Yeah.
Time just flies by when you're retired. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And in the still left, there may be
know.
one or two.
Yeah, we're coming to an age now in time
Right.
where, it's going to become,
Vets.
so one
There's
of those things my kids are going to grow up not being introduced to any of the gentlemen that had served at that time and things like that. So, well, thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Next item on the agenda. I'm sorry. Councilmember Hanson. Did you request a moment of silence? this meeting that you would like to do that at?
I did, yeah.
I was going to hand the mic over to you for a quick second. Sorry, I know it's a little unusual, but you want to explain?
Oh, sure. Yeah, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor, be happy to. Yeah, Sheriff Roger Roberts, longtime sheriff, served 30 years honorably with the Glenn County Sheriff's Office. Before that, in the United States Marine Corps. During the Vietnam War, served in the active duty Marines for 3 years. Was discharged as a sergeant. Saw way too much combat during Vietnam. And anyway, passed away on November 1st of this year after a 3-week battle. And anyway, just he served 4 terms as a Glenn County Sheriff. I worked for him for all 4 terms. One of the finest men I've ever known. And I ask for a moment of silence. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So if we could please have a moment of silence for former Sheriff Roger Roberts. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Sorry, I meant to do that just before the Pledge of Allegiance, but
It's very nice.
Flip for a
Very,
second.
very nice of you, Evan. Thank you.
so. All right, let's continue on. Item 6, public comment and consent calendar forum. All items in the consent calendar are considered routine and may be approved with a single vote unless removed for separate discussion by the council or city manager. Individuals wishing to speak on consent items or matters not on the agenda are asked to complete a speaker card and submit it to the city clerk. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor and council members and are limited to 3 minutes. By law, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Do we have any cards?
No.
Okay. With that, I will, we have items 6A, register approval, 6B, minutes approval, 6C, letter of support, 2026 Stanford Local Governance Summer Institute. 6D, notice of completion for the lift station rehabilitation project. 6E, notice of completion for the emergency library roof failure project. 6F, emergency medical services assessment study request for proposal award. With that, I will give it to my colleagues.
Mr. Mayor, I only had one comment, and that would be with regard to the register approval. And that would be to the Glenn County Sheriff's Office billing us for a false alarm. Since we pay for the deputies to show up for that false alarm, I think double billing us would be, in fact, double billing. So I would, as a member of the safety committee, I will make sure we approach that when we have our next conversation with the sheriff's office.
Thank you. I'd kind of ask that question. Also, the contract is that I've seen just says they'll provide law enforcement services, including animal control and dispatch for the one lump sum. So there was no distinction on charging for, unless you had mentioned, Marty, after in response to my question that we were allowed 2 false alarms, but I don't think I've ever seen any detail like that in a contract with the sheriff's office.
It's my understanding that that's a citywide thing. It's not just in our contract. Generally, that people are allowed 2 false alarms, I think, a month. Another employee told.
And that's the sheriff's office. So if a citizen had, or a business had false alarms, they'd be charged after the second one?
I can
Or is it
confirm,
just-
I'll confirm that, or if the council wants to know, but that was my understanding from the employee that told me.
And so would this have been a third or multiple false alarm to that address? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. But I agree, Rick. that-
Well, the reality of it is we hire the deputy through the sheriff's office. We hire the sheriff's office, and that sheriff's deputy who's on patrol is being paid for by a contract we pay the sheriff's office to do. So for them to be showing up, he's technically a city employee at that point in time.
Yeah.
So it seems illogical that we would be paying a farm service fee, especially one for $480, when we're already paying the deputy to show up.
This isn't from the alarm company, it's from the sheriff's department. That doesn't.
Yeah,
seem
that's
right.
correct.
I know that, I know like alarm companies will charge after so many false alarms, they'll.
Marysville, it's the same way. It's usually you only get 1 a year.
Well, in council, if I may, it does appear to be a Glenn County ordinance that provides for the false alarm. That's possibly what.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may, yeah, good spot, Rick. I missed that, but like I say, good spot, and yeah, it's definitely something that we need to discuss in our next meeting. Just because we have a contract for law enforcement services, so. But I clearly understand why the sheriff's office does charge for false alarms. That's very common. Matter of fact, back when I was the sheriff's office, it was discussed. It was never enacted back then, but because there are some repeat offenders, and it takes staff and resources. But this is a little different, and it's never happened before. I don't believe. Marty, have we?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And I don't know how long that's the ordinance has been in effect, but no, it's never occurred before. So it's interesting. So thank you. Thanks, Rick.
It's my understanding from staff that that the corporation yard has motion sensors and it goes off quite frequently. Animals, things like that. So it's pretty often that the corporation yard alarm goes off. We were just discussing that we probably should fix that so that it's not necessarily so sensitive. And then at the same time, obviously, sheriff changing for the city.
Sounds good.
No other comments, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any further discussion on the items? With that, I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Do I have first? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0 with one absent. Do I have to notify that there's one absent, or since it's already? Do I need to say that there's one absent, or is it just kind of assumed since? Okay,
Denoted as absent.
just clarifying. All right. Next up, item 7, discussion and action calendar. All matters on the discussion and action calendar will be discussed and acted on individually. Individuals wishing to speak on these items are asked to complete a speaker card and submit to the city clerk. Comments should be directed to the mayor and council members and are limited to 3 minutes. By law, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the posted agenda. First item 7A, Finance and Measure I Oversight Committee membership. Recommended action, review and discuss Section D membership guidelines of the Finance Committee's bylaws and consider changing the membership. You want me to take this one since I'm the one that kind of.
I was going to suggest that.
Okay.
Yes.
So essentially this came up. I watched the most recent Measure I Finance Committee meeting. And it was a lot of information. It's a lot of the, I feel like the finer details of the finance. And so I just wanted to bring it up to the council. I found it as good information to hear and have it be discussed. And so I was wanting to bring it before the council. My thought was, if these are quarterly meetings, then we set aside one of our regular scheduled meetings to have the finance committee be talked about during a regular session meeting. Is pretty much all I had. Rick had sent an email and kind of voiced his opinion on it, which I definitely see his side. So I just wanted to open it up to discussion for the council and see what their thoughts were on it.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Mhm.
I agree that some of the conversations we have in that Finance and Measure I Oversight Committee is valuable information for the full council. And the full council should be vested in that knowledge. And so I have no problems with the Measure I Oversight being just we could reconvene ourselves as that committee during a regular council meeting and have that discussion.
Mhm.
I think that's a great idea. What I wouldn't want to do is lose the finance committee per se, because we're finally starting to get our feet on the ground.
No, and I don't think that's, I don't want you to think that's at all what I'm trying to do at
Well,
all.
I understand that,
Yeah, okay.
but see, some of the stuff the finance committee should be reviewing is the contracts,
Mhm.
like the Matson Isom, the Tyler, Clearway, the banking relationships. We have a conversation scheduled to have a conversation with Marty and with the bank about that banking relationship, see if there's an improvement that we can be made for the benefit of the city. And that's the kind of stuff that I think two members of the council could actually engage in and report to the council, make some recommendations as far as what we should be doing and what needs to be done on that side of it. When I first joined this council, the finance committee basically just approved the bills after they already been paid.
Right.
And I felt that that was insufficient that's kind of after the fox has already got the hen. So I like the finance committee being able to continue some review, but I don't have any problem with the oversight committee having a convention during a regular meeting. But as long as the finance committee could continue to do some of that other stuff.
And like I said, I don't have a layout for how that would exactly work. It was just like I said, a topic to bring up and have a discussion as a council about. I do like how you and Matt are handling everything. And like I said, like your meeting it was an hour-long meeting. I'm not saying let's transport that entire meeting to our regular session item. Council.
Thank you.
That would be that could be some long nights for us on some occasions. I was just looking for a way to possibly integrate some of the conversations back into the council, that everyone's possibly on that.
I think one thing that happened in the last meeting was that Vice Mayor Thomas and Councilmember Busby had a lot of additional requests for information that they wanted that are actually not in the bylaws. If you look at the bylaws, we had, and not that they can't change, but the council had approved certain topics that were going to be discussed at each of the quarterly meetings. And there were quite a bit that was added that are not part of that list that was added to the last meeting. And I don't know if you want to, one way to parse this out, if you wanted to, would be to, kind of move the committee back into the items that are on the bylaws, maybe add a couple of things like the vice mayor just mentioned, like include contract oversight or a couple of things. And then some of those bigger questions that we addressed in the last meeting, maybe those come to a special council meeting instead. So maybe there's a way to separate out where they still get that kind of more detailed perspective on finance, and the bigger 100,000-foot view is saved for the full council. That's just one possible way to parse that out.
I do like that because they do a lot of fine detail work during your meetings. And I appreciate that, and that's what we need, to show that we're being responsible with our funds. Like I said, it was just there was a couple items on there that I was like, oh, that was really cool to kind of hear about, and you don't hear about it normally during these meetings. So, and I don't have any off the top of my head. I don't have those notes. So.
Well, and I would agree, there's a lot of the financial stuff because it's at the committee. If we don't actually have the committee report, then we're not getting that unless we attend the meeting or go watch it later. The last agenda had current and pending capital projects, just overall financial reports, where we are with the budget. That's stuff that I would like to know. And I usually go to those meetings. I couldn't attend the last one. But part of the reason that we went to quarterly meetings with the finance committee, my understanding was for the Measure I oversight, so that the public could very specifically and succinctly come and listen and hear what's going on with the money that is being raised with Measure I. And so then we took the finance committee and added a lot of stuff to it and put it into this whole separate meeting that now 2 council members go. We're all welcome to go. I think I read in the staff report that could be agendized as a special meeting because I know I've come and I felt like I can't talk, when I'm there as a council member because I'm in the audience. So it's a little bit awkward. So I think for me, I like the suggestion that we kind of revisit it and see how it's going. I think I would like to have more of the information still coming to the council so that it's not another meeting that we all have to attend, or we might as well just have a separate meeting. So I think there's a blend. Are we getting much public to those meetings online or in person at all?
No, I think the last was Doug.
Yeah, and I think normally
So-
it's me and Doug.
Yeah.
And then online, have we checked? Are people?
I not checked. That's a good question.
And of course, we can't tell if they're watching it later,
Right.
right?
There was one member of the public actually on. I remember that. about during the meeting, but I haven't checked to see how many people.
So I do think the finances is huge, you know, especially as we're, righting the ship, so to speak. And it's tough to have another meeting to try and attend as opposed to having some of that information just coming.
Do you,
Mm.
would it be helpful if the full council just got a separate email at the same time as the committee with the full packet? I mean, would that be helpful? But because I think that I included the packet in the biweekly update for the finance committee, but I know I can appreciate that that might get buried because there is a lot of information and attachments.
Mhm.
I don't know if that would be helpful to just get a separate, hey, everybody, here's the packet for the upcoming finance committee meeting to the full council.
Is it posted online with the agenda, the full packet for
Yes,
finance?
yes, it is. Yep.
Okay,
And
so
we
we
send it
can
out
do
to
it
the distribution.
I think where I'm kind of coming from, and I think it kind of ties along with what Lori is saying, is almost like a Cliff Notes version that could be just put into our packets. Then if we have questions on it, like be a part of our
Maybe part of the consent calendar and.
part of the,
if you want
thank you,
to spend-
the consent calendar. And then if we want something to say on it.
Okay.
Real quick, I'm going to ask if there's any public comment regarding this item. Sorry, we got into this discussion before I could ask that. Okay, no public comment. So, Councilmember Hanson, you're the only one that hasn't anything to say?
No,
Anything to add?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Been listening intently. I agree with what everyone said, Rick, Lori, and yourself. So when we basically, as Rick explained, we had a finance committee with really silly duties, reviewing the bills of an approved budget. Kind of silly. It was a good educational basis for new council members to serve on that committee, actually, from an educational perspective on city finances. However, dissolving the finance committee, rolling it into the Measure I Oversight Committee, maybe it's time to revisit that issue as well and go back, as Rick, have a separate, have a finance committee, to handle the finance related duties as Rick outlined. And then the Measure I Oversight Committee be separate. Now, if I would not be opposed to all five of us serving on the Measure I Oversight Committee, I could go either way with that, with the committee assignment. But I think maybe we tried to consolidate, and we did away with a committee that had no teeth, and now we have a committee that has a lot of teeth. And I'd like to see at least in writing to preview. And Marty, you did supply some information on at least the last meeting, I remember, but we get so much information. But anyway, like Evan said, the Cliff Notes version. But I think probably not going to be able to make a decision tonight. Maybe we need to ponder this. Do we need two committees? Could be the same committee members, obviously. I wouldn't have a problem with that. So I agree with everything I've heard. I mean, the Measure I Oversight Committee, a lot has, as this has morphed, it's kind of added a little more than the bylaws indicate. So I think we need to think about it.
Another.
Do we need two committees? Do we need a full council to serve in the Measure I Oversight Committee? I wouldn't oppose to either way. But I don't think we're going to be able to decide that tonight, and we might need to chew on this for a while.
Another
What?
possibility would be for the council to just get a Measure I update every quarter on Measure I revenues and have that as a discussion and action item once a quarter, and keep the finance committee doing the more detailed work.
Let's do this. Can we table this until January when we have the other half of the finance committee
Yeah.
here, so that we can all have the same, then
And
you
just
can be a part of the conversation
Yeah.
as well. So
And just one other thought in the bylaws under C, role and responsibilities, it does say that the role of the oversight committee is to provide quarterly updates to the full city council as part of our regular agenda. So if they had, for example, at their November meeting where they had a very lengthy agenda, then we would get a report out that says we talked about these things. That would be the, what do we call it? The Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
So the bylaws already sort of provide for that.
Maybe we need
It
to-
is timely, and I do have a council report out or a committee report out
Perfect.
on that finance committee, and I'd be happy to give that now
I think,
or under council member
I think
comment.
under your council comments will be fine. And then I think what we'll do, if everyone's okay with it, we'll come back in January when Councilmember Busby is back, and we can maybe all sit down and have this discussion and since you guys are the ones on the committee right now, I think it'd be best to make the decision with both of you present rather than half.
And I would just say, for me, the quarterly report out would be nice to have it in writing in our packet as something to read ahead of time and assimilate. Your reports are always super thorough, but then you're just listening and you don't have any information to kind of look at. So just,
And maybe your update should be actually agendized and not just be a council comment kind of thing. We'll put it on the
That'd be
agenda and
appropriate.
formalize it.
That'd be appropriate.
And by the way, Councilmember Pride, I was just told that 7 people viewed that last meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to say, Rick and to Rick and Matt, yeah, thank you. Appreciate all the work you put on this because I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a very important committee, a lot going on, and I know you're dedicated and serious about it, and you're doing a great job. So thank you. But I think
Thank you,
we
Gary.
take all this into into consideration and have Matt at a future discussion and kind of figure out which way we're going to go. But we may very well need to go back to 2 committees.
So let's push this out and then, yeah, and then maybe if we can get if you have like 1 or 2 ideas for us of maybe an outline for us to use, whether it's part of a discussion and action calendar item or on part of the consent calendar. And then we'll just come back in January I also know that the finance department's not at full steam right now too, so that might make it a little bit more difficult, but at least we're starting the discussion. So then when we fill the position they at least know what they're getting into. It's not going to be thrown on their laps first come, first serve. So
Sounds good.
fair enough.
One
Everybody
other
agree
thought-
with that?
One other thought is if we do want a council oversight of the finance, the Measure I, we could have that quarterly start at, like, say, 5:30 and have that front and then move into a regular session.
Start those meetings a little bit earlier and then
Might be one way to have the whole council involved in where the tax dollars are going and that stuff. Council member reports, finance committee could talk about some of the other stuff that we reviewed. See if there's money to be saved here or recommendation for this or that.
sounds great.
That would work well. Not creating 4 additional meetings on top of all of our other meetings. We
Just-
just have to attend.
Just an extra half hour, 4
Yeah.
times a year.
Be easy.
All right. With that, I do want to say, Vice Mayor Thomas, thank you. You and Councilmember Busby have been doing a great job on that.
You
I
appreciate
believe
that.
you guys have caught a couple of different things that have caught your eyes. And like I said, it was really informational meeting to listen to. So thank you. All right, moving on. Item 7B, Library Board of Trustees Subcommittee Vacancy and Appointment Process. Recommended action, elect 2 council members, subcommittee, review applications, conduct interviews, and return to the full council with a recommendation for appointment to the Library Board of Trustees to fill the remaining term vacated by Lisa Kennedy that is scheduled to expire June 30th, 2028. With that, I'll give it to you, Marty.
Just very quickly, I think this is pretty self-evident. So we went back and looked at what historically the council has done. There has been a subcommittee of the council that has gone through the process, just like they do with the Planning Commission, of interviewing potential library board trustee applicants after we circulate and advertise for the vacancy, which is what we just completed. And this committee hasn't convened for quite some time, so we had to do a little research. None of those original committee members are currently on the council any longer, which is why 2 new appointments are needed. And the assumption is that if the council appoints 2 people tonight to do interviews, there are 2 applications that then from there, it would come back for recommendation for appointment of one of those 2 people to the full council. My presentation.
Okay. Any questions for City Manager?
No, I have no questions,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. Pretty straightforward.
Any public comment regarding this item? Item 7B? Seeing none, pleasure of the council.
It seems logical. We need to appoint 2.
I would be interested in being
And I
one.
know you were on the library liaison position before, Mr. Mayor.
I was there for,
And so I would move to, without objection, of course, to appoint the mayor and Lori Pride, that committee.
Was that a motion?
That's a
Mr.
motion.
Vice Mayor, second the motion.
I have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Um,
I couldn't second that fast enough.
I don't think so. Um, with that, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you.
I almost forgot what I was supposed to say because that second came so fast. All right, item 7C.
Oh, we get through meetings quickly.
Item 7C, street banner program, recommended action. As a city's street banner contract with CGI Communications comes to an end, staff seek direction, on next steps for this program, including option A, renew the contract with CGI, option B, discontinue the street banner program completely, or option C, launch a city administered program. With that, I will give that to City Manager Marty.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. So we are at a stage where the CGI communications contract has pretty much come to an end. The current banners that are on the streets were installed in like August, September timeframe. This is the third year and last year of that contract. They are very interested in doing another contract with the city. And so I know that there's been a lot of discussion in the community and especially the business community around whether this is the right program for the city and whether the city could absorb it internally or designers and installers could be local people and could we make some changes like that? I also know Councilmember Pride would like to comment as well on possibly a fourth option. It's not really an option that council can take action on, but certainly not doing anything would allow for option A, B, C, D to take place. And I don't have much more to add to this unless you have specific questions for me. I think I would recommend that Councilmember Pride share her thoughts on option D.
Thank you. So as we've worked on the wayfinding signs and had the wayfinding committee, we're actually in the process of getting local quotes for the design. And I don't know what kind of looks like this little thing right here. But what we've talked about with some of the business people with the committee, as we've done the wayfinding signs and also discussed with the chamber, is rather than continuing with the current banner program, is that we look at the opportunity to incorporate the top part of the wayfinding sign, the willow tree with the Welcome to Willows, and make that part of any banner design that we have going forward, as well as continue to look at keeping the Find Your Refuge piece. So I know I'm leaning for letting the CGI contract just go and have the existing banners up there. I went to the chamber meeting that they had on Monday, and it wasn't a formal board meeting, but they had some of the new members there, talked about the banner program, and would the chamber be interested in possibly picking it up? And there was some thought that that would be a good idea. They're not committing to anything right now. They're kind of up to their eyeballs in Christmas festivities and whatnot. But I think in the vacuum of not having another outside vendor putting up banners for another 3 years, I do believe that there would be some community coming forward and be an opportunity for either the chamber or possibly the new organization that Jessica Tapia formed, the Walking in a Willow's Wonderland, which is going to be a year-round group. I believe they formed a 501c3. She seemed very interested in the banner type project. So again, we can't commit them to anything. I know there is some interest in moving forward with something. I don't think it would happen quickly, but I think it could happen sooner than 3 years. And I do think if we go with the CGI extension, there's not going to be any reason for anybody to look at doing anything differently for 3 years. And the opportunity to possibly tie our wayfinding signs into some banners and start having some cohesiveness in our marketing, I think would be something to consider.
With that, any questions for the city manager or Councilmember Pride?
Just if we went with the CGI, and could we not have your suggestions for the top included in the process?
We could. I mean, we could do a whole redesign with CGI, could we not?
Yeah, keep in mind the current street banners, they didn't design those. They were designed by Hill. And I want to also comment that
Good point.
just a note that, it's written here in the discussion section, but of the 4 businesses that responded to a request via email from us, if they were interested, there generally was an interest by all of them. 1 or 2, I think 2 asked about it being more locally driven, and CGI said that they would be willing to add to the contract like a commitment to find, local installers and local fabricators, which I don't think was in their last. They did say they do try to do that, but they would be willing to add that as like a commitment to make the effort. So
I guess the other part I was just looking at, Rick, was is it an opportunity for the chamber to make some money? I mean, CGI makes money on this. We don't pay them anything, but they make it through the sponsorships. And so the band, I just trying to keep that piece local. But there's no
Well, they
reason-
had hard, that my concern with the chamber is their membership is on the directorship. It's pretty weak.
I would agree it's growing. They have new memberships and
So-
it's-
I would be hesitant only in the sense that do they have the strength today
right.
to move forward with it? And I'm glad to hear that there's some things happening and they need an election and they need to have more board members and more people join the chamber. As an individual, I don't know how far my $40 goes.
And
So let me, real quick, before we start getting into the discussion too much, I wanted to open up the public comment regarding the wayfinding, or
the banners.
the banners,
Street banner.
the street banners. Okay, if you'd please step up to the mic and just state your name real quick.
I think I should state my name correct. My name's Laurel Hillward, and I'm here because I'm interested in the library position. But as far as the banners go, I spent quite a bit of time on a volunteer committee for the Honeybee Discovery Center in Orland. And one of the things I notice is that the banners are oriented in a way that people on the Highway 32 going from the freeway toward Chico, they're easily seen. And I've wondered in Willows if people really see them. They're, for me, a source of Willows pride. I was raised here and I like seeing them. But I've wondered about the impact and actually wondered if the money might be better spent in more of an outreach situation. Our I-5 doesn't have people driving through it to pick up 162. I like them. I was initially a little bit confused by the refuge reference. I thought maybe there might have been a better reference to Willows in particular. But so that's my comment.
Thank you. Okay. With that, sorry,
Yeah, no,
we
and
can go back
just
to the discussion.
my summary in response to what Rick said, and I don't disagree at all with Rick, but sometimes, an organization needs a project to bring the businesses together that, for their downtown or for their entity to get that interest. Part of the reason people haven't joined the chamber is because they don't really do anything. So it's kind of that chicken and the egg, which comes first, capacity or interest, and it could be both. I'm not sold on either one. I just see it kind of as an opportunity that wouldn't be without some work and some effort for the local thing to happen. But I do like the idea of redesigning. I mean, if we went with CGI to do a redesign and try to make them look a little bit like one final thing. Some of the businesses have said, what's the purpose of the banners? Is the purpose of the banners really just to promote a few businesses with the Find Your Refuge? They have talked about, what about promoting holidays or using banners to promote events, which would mean maybe more turnover with the banners. But there's a little bit of kind of chin scratching puzzlement about, so we have banners up and they have business names on them, but what does that really do for the community? So just why are we? Well,
Beautification, I suppose.
I mean, 2/3 of the banner is covered with art design that somebody in this community came up with the planning commission, and 1/3 is by businesses who are paying to have their business sponsored.
Yep.
And I just want to point out for the public, especially, this is a program that the city doesn't spend a single dime on. We don't There's almost no staff effort, and which, I mean, to be honest with you, with all the other irons in the fire, for us, it's good for staff. But it costs the city no money out of its general fund either. Most other options, short of the chamber completely taking it on, or some other organization, would require probably some injection of capital from the city, from the general fund to engage in this program, unless, like you were proposing, Councilmember Pride, maybe the Chamber of Commerce wants to completely take on the entire program. And we just, we use the polls. But I mean, the street banner program, it is about businesses getting advertisement and paying. So that is certainly that, and community pride, I think, too.
I'm going to speak real quick. I actually enjoy seeing the banners up. I do think they add a little bit of character to some of our streets rather than just being plain. I would agree with Rick that I'm slightly concerned about whether they have the capacity. It's a pretty large project. How many banners do we currently have up?
It's 23.
That's it?
And
Oh,
how
yeah.
many of
So-
those are
seems like
actually
there's more than-
sponsored? Because didn't we have to give some free away just to fill it out on not like service clubs?
They
or
offer
fire
that.
department?
Actually, CGI offers to give one automatically to the fire department, the sheriff's department. So that's just part of their program, is to do a few free for those entities. Yeah, I think that they strive to get at least 25, because that is the breaking point.
Mhm.
They really don't make money on it. I mean, I was told by one of the principals in Willows they lost money. So I too am surprised that they want to do it again, because but so I don't know. If they do make any money, it can't be too much at what, $800 a banner, and 20 times 100 by the time you design it, staff time, fabrication and installation.
So I think I like the idea of having them kind of coincide with our new wayfinding signs. I think that that's a great idea. I'm leaning towards just leaving it though, with have CGI do it and take one less thing off not put another thing on the city's plate or something like that. If a volunteer organization wants to help out, I believe we have a list of projects for them to come help out with. That's my 2 cents on it. Councilmember Hanson, you've been awfully quiet. Let's go around too.
I'm intently listening, but
Okay.
Believe me, I have plenty to say on it. I'm a big fan of CGI and the work that they've done. I'm also a big fan of the Find Your Refuge theme. That's right up my lifestyle alley. I know it's not for everybody, but I think Hill did a great job with that. As you see in your packet, CGI, they're good at what they do. I think it's a quality product. And Marty, I agree. For the life of me, I don't understand why they want to re-up with us, because this is not a moneymaker for them at all. But their quality product, it is absolutely hands off from a staff standpoint, as Evan indicated. And I think it looks great. Sure, it's it's advertisement. The businesses are paying for it, but I am in favor of the way I look at it. Option A is the only logical, common sense choice at this point. I don't really want to have to rely on other groups, and we've got a good thing going. If forgive my French here, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So let's not try to fix it. And I'm in favor of a contract amendment. And Lori, with your suggestion to move some wayfinding sign additional work to the contract, sure, let's go for that and handle it that way. I mean, that way we'll have a product that's finished, it's done. There's no lag time. We're not going to have beautiful looking signs from our poles that are going to start getting torn up from the wind and just let them die a slow death in the sun and the rain and the weather. But no, I'm all in favor of sticking with CGI. I'm really happy that they've offered to re-up. I could say I'm not sure why, but I think option A is the only logical choice. And if it's time for a redesign, fine. I like the current designs, but that's me. I think it fits with who we are and what we're all about. But it sure looks better than those empty old poles out there. That's for sure. So I think it classes up downtown a little bit. And the Laurel's, comments too. Yeah, I mean, would, could it expand into, Stare at 162 at some point? Maybe, that there would no doubt have to get Caltrans probably involved from an encroachment permit. And we all know how that is dealing with the state of California. But anyway, I'm in favor of CGI or sticking with CGI and maybe a contract amendment to include the other option that Lori mentioned. That's my recommendation.
Lori, do you think that the committee that's helping with the wayfinding signs would be interested in the design? Or
I think so. We've got the proofs back from the local sign shop, and I need to talk to Joe about that. They took it and they changed it a little bit, and the committee's not really thrilled with the change they made. So it would make sense because I'm thinking that just this top part on the wayfinding sign, just go where the historic welcome closes. Should be possibly an easy
transition?
on the.
Yeah, and the way I'm looking at some of their examples from what you're showing me, it seems like it'd be a really easy transition for them to do. They got a lot of different options that they're doing, and
Well,
I said,
and
they
it's
have
a, it's a good compromise for me and from my opinion. And then 3 years from now, maybe we're ready to do something a little different.
Yeah.
At that point in time.
so with that, I will leave it up for a motion.
I just have one more final comment.
Oh.
I do notice that Steve Miles from Signco was hired by them to install the banners on.
Hmm.
'Cause I saw him downtown on
Good.
top of a pole putting one up. I chatted with him. So there was some local hire.
Yeah, they mentioned that to me. They said, really? I feel like we did hire somebody local.
did.
And yeah,
Well, that'd be good to let people know,
So
maybe as we roll out the next wave.
I would move to
Perfect.
approve option A.
Second the motion.
A first and a second. Any further discussion?
I would just like to make sure that motion includes adding the change in design,
you want to
add the wayfinding.
You want to make a
mean-
friendly amendment that we ask the same group of people that came up with this if they want to work on the street banners design?
Yes. That, I just want to make sure that we tie it to the, that the motion doesn't just say it's the same existing look, that we modify it a little bit.
Okay. I
that-
like the fact that Willows is a tree.
Mhm.
You have no willow tree in town.
That's why we were trying to.
I always thought we
incorporate
should
it.
have willow trees at the clover leaves right out in the center. I don't know what a willow tree costs to maintain, how much water they need.
Willow trees are the worst tree you could plant for root damage.
Out in the middle of a clover leaf, I don't think it'd be a problem. But
I actually did
They're
an
really-
internship in college where I planted willow trees in a Stafford Reservoir in Nevada as part of a water conservation project. And then some of them are still there, but they literally are in water. So I think
Yes.
that's why they
They
survive.
need to be away from any structures or infrastructure. A long ways away.
And a lot of water.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I would accept that friendly amendment.
Second the amended motion.
Okay, I have a first and a second on the amended motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0. Next up on our agenda. Which one was that? Okay. Item 7D, 2026 council meeting calendar and schedule. Recommended action, adopt resolution establishing the 2026 council meeting calendar and schedule. Exhibit A. City manager.
As the council can see that the calendar that's before you is the recommended 2026 council meeting calendar. We've included in yellow, which I can't see because I have a black and white copy, so I'm looking online, is the proposed council meetings. All the purple highlighted are the currently council approved holidays, paid holidays for and holidays that City Hall is closed. And then there's 3 proposed closures. One is April 14th, which I especially requested of the council for myself. One is a summer recess again for the first meeting in August 11th. And the last one, of course, again, is around the holiday week of Christmas. And again, is another recommendation for a closure the week of Christmas, the same as it will be this year. The 24th and the 25th are paid holidays. The 21st and 23rd would be employees using either their vacation time, comp time, or unpaid time off. So as well, sorry, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So that's 3 days that week of Christmas. And that's it. That's the proposed recommended calendar for next year.
Okay. Any questions for city manager?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Any public comment regarding the 2026 council meeting calendar and schedule? Okay, seeing none, pleasure of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to approve the resolution of the City Council of the City of Willows establishing the 2026 council meeting schedule.
I have a first. Is there a second?
Second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
First and second, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0. Next up, informational, item 8A, informational Pioneer Community Energy 2027 campaign launch. Recommended action. This staff report and attachments are informational only regarding the October 2027 launch of Pioneer Community Energy in the city of Willows. City Manager Marty.
So very quickly, this was a request by Councilmember Pride back in September, if we could start talking more about the Pioneer Energy Community Energy Project. The actual launch and implementation is not until October of 2027. And in talking to Pioneer Community Energy, they were planning in like the second half of 26 to start a whole educational campaign. And so the attachments that are here to the staff report, their press, not so much the press release, but the frequently asked questions in the service map would start circulating more in the community in the second half of 2026, and they would be launching an educational campaign. We plan to also include that in next month, the December newsletter, and from some of the same information you're seeing tonight, and starting to get that out into the community and preparing them. I just want to state again that these Pioneer Community Energy, that this project has an opt-out option. There's 60 days at the beginning of the project that people can say they want to stay with PG&E and don't have to do it. There's no requirement that people participate in this program. So I just want to make that clear, because I know that's come up before. Is this going to be required of the community or residents? And it is not required. That's pretty much all I have to say about this, unless Councilmember Pride, you want to add anything?
No, I just thought it was important when we had voted on this on February 11th, January, and then in February, and I think the final on February 25th. It was all going to the CPUC for final approvals. And then I think we got something in our packets from the city manager that said it had been approved and would be moving forward. But there was never anything outward facing to the community who'd been listening to public hearings on this for them to hear that in fact it had been approved and that we were definitely moving in that direction. So I just thought it was really important that it comes back to a publicized city council meeting to say that even though the rollout's not happening for quite a while, the decision has still been made, and it is still in fact going to be happening, so that they wouldn't not know. I did find it interesting. We got a thing in the mail from PG&E that they went to the PUC for some proposed rate increases for electric rates, and it's talking about transmission costs. So transmission costs are going to go up more for community choice aggregate people than they are for those with PG&E. Is what they're proposing. So you'll save money on your power, but your transmission costs may be going up. So I just think, again, it's just something for people to be keeping in mind as they look, whether they're opting in or opting out. Usually people are trying to get around loss of income some other way.
All right. Without any further questions from the council? No? All right. Well, thank you for that information. With that, we will move on to item 9A, council correspondence. Do we have any correspondence? I don't think I have any, so. Okay.
Got one question?
Which one?
Yeah, the planning
Oh.
commission.
The planning commission letter, yes. Yes, so there was a letter from current and former planning commission members requesting to state clarification of planning commission vote record regarding the retail dispensary cannabis businesses. It was the meeting on July 17th of 2024. This matter, I believe, will be coming back to a planning commission meeting next month.
It will be coming back to the December 2nd Planning Commission. which is-
Okay. So, yes, we did receive that letter. And with that, we'll move on to item 9B, City Council comments and reports. Vice Mayor Thomas, we will start with you tonight, sir.
Thank you, sir. On November 4th, the Finance and Measure I Oversight Committee had a special meeting. And we had a lengthy agenda and a nice meeting. I'm pleased to report that on capital projects, the Sycamore Park project has 120 workday completion established once started. And the city's adding in penalties factored in for missing deadlines. And the priority and completion is going to be based on getting the swimming pool done first, so we can hit the June deadline. Also, wayfinding signs should be complete by year end. And I notice we have street signs up on Wood Street, and you can actually find Pacific Avenue now.
It's
So I
bigger,
can call
too.
my brother and says, you can come back and you'll be able to find me now. Our apparatus replacement fund has an anticipated balance once money is received of $178,000. This is a direct funding allowed by our sales tax measure. We had $5,000 in a capital and reserve account, and I think the council has already voted to move that into its apparatus replacement fund. And based on strike team deployments by our fire department and the use of our equipment, the state pays us dollars per day for that equipment, and that money is going in straight into our apparatus replacement fund. So after the state processes and pays us what we currently believe is owed to us, we'll have $178,000 in our apparatus replacement fund. Those funds before went straight into our general fund. So there's something that's directly allowed by our new sales tax measure. The HDL estimate for the 25-26 estimate fiscal year is $2,156,000 in revenue from our Measure I. And that solved our structural deficit and allows funding for things like replacement fund, as well as increased staffing and some of the things that we needed to update that had been passed over because we didn't have the funds for deferred maintenance like our street signs. We looked at our long-term debt and investments, and the GAP loan taken out many years ago is to be paid off this quarter, and that'll allow $85,000 cash flow into the 25-26 fiscal year. We also reviewed cash flow analysis and the trial balance on including some detailed reports on several items in our trial balance. So I think staff has done very well in helping us look at some of these things. We've looked at the banking relationship, and Marty and I are going to have a conversation with the bank based on my experience with, and actually Matt's too, on how to maximize the relationship with the bank and get the most out of it. So there's some things that I don't understand, and I don't know if Marty knows what that banking relationship is being charged. So we're going to find out and fix that if we can. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Thank you,
Thank you. No questions from
Mr.
me.
Thomas.
Councilmember Pride?
Attended LAFCO meeting. There's no current project at LAFCO. We're just still fine tuning policies and procedures. That's about it.
Okay. Councilmember Hanson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, it's been meeting city, and it's going to be clear up to Christmas, it looks like. But on November 10th, attended our monthly meeting at Glen Groundwater Authority Board of Directors, routine business as we move forward, implementing the groundwater sustainability plan. And the priority right now is the domestic well mitigation, which we have to have in operation by January 1 of 2026, here in another month, and we will meet that deadline. November 20th, held a regional transit committee meeting. Mayor Hudson was also there, as he's a member of that committee. Routine business for the most part, with the exception of really the important item of to note for the council in reference to our 4 diesel hybrid buses, which have been ordered from Gillig. There's an increased tariff cost to the tune of a little over $18,000 total, and it's just, you know, for the parts and the components, the cost of doing business in today's today's economy, and that was easily absorbed by the existing funds, and it was approved unanimously by the Transit Committee. Transportation Commission meeting followed that also routine business for the most part. Let's see if I missed anything, Evan, here. That meeting. Yeah, really just a lot of routine business. And we always have generally have Dawson Stroud, who's the Caltrans planner for this region. And he's very responsive, and we throw a lot of darts at Dawson, and he takes it well. But he only delivers he gets the information for us, delivers the message, and brings the message back. And of course, at the top of that list is Starrett 162, and primarily the intersection of Tehama and Wood Street, right? And once again, he heard Caltrans heard from myself and also Jim Yoder on the board supervisors once again, as he does every month, about let's get that intersection fixed. So waiting what we hear next month on that, but the pressure's on. We're keeping the pressure on, and still no movement on with Southern Pacific Railroad in reference to the tracks crossing Starrett 162. That is the current delay wire 162 total rehab project from the city limits in the area of Walmart to the railroad tracks have been delayed a year. Still nothing, no movement from the railroad company. So I asked Mr. Stroud if he could involve Congressman Lamoff's office to maybe see what they can do from the federal side to maybe push the railroad along, at least to answer the telephone. So, but as Marty indicated, that's kind of the way the railroads work in this country. It's a quasi-independent, quasi with a lot of government regulations favoring the railroad companies. Railroad companies do great work. They move our freight as well as they move the freight to the trucks to get it delivered. But still, anyway, so we're pushing that matter hard from the Transportation Commission. Followed by following day, November 21st, we had our monthly joint Glen Groundwater Authority and Inclusive Groundwater Authority meeting. And at that meeting, we did approve a pilot domestic well mitigation program that a lot of time and effort has gone into moving forward. So that was approved, and we will meet that January 1st deadline to have the domestic well mitigation program in effect. So it's a great policy that was delivered. I want to thank the Willow City Public Works team, Joan Natisa and the entire crew, for just being on it, as they always are during a leaf pickup. They're on it. The new city mechanics doing an awesome job keeping not only the fire apparatus rolling, but the public works apparatus and equipment rolling. There have been, as we know, a lot of mechanical issues, and he's got the sweeper and that vacuum truck working like they're brand new. And it's actually, they can actually do the work with the leaf truck now on in the rain with wet leaves, which couldn't be done before because the vacuum truck works now. So good work, excellent work. And the crews are out there just they're diligent, and they are on it and doing outstanding work as always. I'd really like to, thank our new team member, city mechanic, doing an awesome job as well. Also, I sent an email, but just Mayor Hudson, Councilmember Busby, City Manager Marty Brown, Community Development Services Joe Betancourt, and Fire Chief Nate Monk, and Public Works Superintendent Natisa Field. Thank you very much for your work in honoring Sheriff Roger Roberts. Sheriff Roberts was, like I said, one of the finest men I knew. He was an extremely, in my mind, the hardest working sheriff in my lifetime in Glenn County's history. Extremely dedicated. The job nearly killed him a number of times, and he was in. Just thank you for all your work in honoring Sheriff Roberts, lowering the Flagstaff staff, and also Chief. Your thank with your personnel with Truck 4 at the services, and they did an awesome job. Looked good. They looked sharp. They presented Willows Fire extremely well. And also like to thank Councilmember Busby for the facilities at Thunderhill. It was the Thunderhill team did an awesome job. Excellent work. It was a perfect venue, and I highly recommend that venue for if anybody's looking for a venue. It was fantastic. Worked out very well. Also like to thank Glenn County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Gibbs saw to it that the GCSO had a firing party for the 21 gun salute in honor of Sheriff Roberts, and who was also honored with military honors by the United States Marine Corps. So thank you, everybody. It was class act. Well done. And well deserved from Roger's career and all the work he did for not only the city of Willows, but the county of Glenn and surrounding areas. He was a legend. I tell you, it was amazing working for him. And I'm glad he's in my life, and also had the privilege of not only having Roger as my boss and my mentor from the time I was 16, but also as a good friend. So I will forever be grateful for that. And finally, the museum society, or museum right over here at the corner of Loomis and Walnut, we're going to have our grand reopening Christmas open house on Thursday, December 11th at 5:30 p.m. Everybody's welcome. There's going to be the Better Than Last Year band there is going to be there performing at about 6 o'clock. Stop by, have some light refreshments, and check out the museum, listen to some good music. Also, we're going to have a grand reopening ribbon cutting ceremony with the chamber at 5:20 that evening as well. And I think I covered everything. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. And that's all I had. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. Well, I did have things to report on, but it's all been touched on. No, the street signs look really good. Yeah, shout out to the Public Works crew for the leaf pickup. I've ran into them a couple times. Just doing a great job making sure the leaves are picked up. So hopefully don't end up with any pluggages that lead to the flooding that is so well known in the city of Willows. Also, talk about Measure I funds, street stumper, or the tree stumpers, not street stumper, the tree stumper. I've seen it in action. It's a great piece of machinery that they have now at their disposal to use again. So it helps get rid of those tree stumps. Other than that, I don't have anything else. So with that, we'll go to the city manager's report.
I do have some updates. So quickly, a reminder that we are closed this Thursday and Friday for the Thanksgiving holiday at City Hall and all non-critical city services. The Planning Commission has its regular meeting on December 2nd, Tuesday at 6 p.m. The Library Board has its regular meeting on December 11th at 11 a.m. in the Eubanks Room. And Planning Commission is actually in here. And then we have two really big events I'm excited about. December 4th, Thursday, will be a big day. Ribbon cutting ceremony and grand opening of the 5 lift stations. That's over $1 million project on Sycamore Street lift station at Villa at 11:30 a.m. And so the station is just slightly west of Villa on Sycamore. Mayor Hudson will be speaking, as well as saying a few words, as well as the city engineer. We've got a great geocache adventure where you can go around and find some geocache swag at the other 4 lift stations after this event. And then we also have a public meeting that same evening for the zoning code update and an opportunity for the public to weigh in on the major undertaking of the municipal code update, in particular Title 18 zoning. That's at 5:30 PM at the Arc at 222 North Butte Street. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll be getting prepared to go into closed session for items 10A, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, title City Attorney. Item 10B, Conference with Real Property Negotiators, Government Code 54956.8, Property 459 South Butte Street, Willows, California. With that, is there any public comment before we go into closed session on our two closed session items? Okay, seeing none, we will go into closed session at 7:11. All right. Welcome back. We're coming back from closed session at 7:58. With that, I will give it over to our city attorney for the report out for our closed session items.
Thank you, Mayor. The council met on two items in closed session. The first was a public employee performance evaluation, title City Attorney. Report out is evaluation or direction to staff, evaluation held. Second item was a conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Subject property is 459 South Butte Street, Willows, California. Agency negotiator was Marty Brown, city manager. The negotiating parties are Dolly Clay, Elizabeth JT. And under negotiation was price in terms of payment, and report out was direction provided to staff.
Perfect. With that, we will close our meeting at 7:59. Have a good night.